so far?
It's been great. I've had a pretty full day interviewing people for my podcast and doing lots of coaching work and things like that. So it's been full and fun.
Good. It's good. That's good. It's always great to do what you want to do, not what you have to do.
Yes. What did you do today?
I went to work. I
Yeah.
work. Yeah. I'm a certified medical assistant. So I work at
Okay.
Memorial Hospital. So, and medicine is one of my passions. I definitely plan on going further, but I love what I do. So I don't really see me ending that anytime soon. I love the
Yeah.
medical field. I love helping people. So obviously, so it kind of coincides with what I do on the side anyway. So, but that's what I did. So I got off work and came home, got dinner started, and my kids were in the pool, and I'm in here talking to you.
Oh, that's great.
So, but yeah, that was my day. So let's get started. So, can you tell my audience a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. I'm Beverly Price, and I am a women's expression coach, self expression coach. I help women on their journey from self expression to self empowerment on the inside and out. I am also a podcast host of the Her Self Expression podcast and a custom jewelry designer.
Awesome. That's awesome. I was actually going to ask you, what is one fun fact that many people don't know about you?
One fun fact. I was a championship roller skater when I was in high school, and we did roller dancing like you see the ice dancing on
Uh-huh.
the Olympics, but we did that in roller skates. And I finished
Awesome.
fourth in the country.
Oh my God. That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I actually
Long time ago, honey. Long time ago.
Well, it's never too late to get started back. I actually got I used to ice skate. I used to do competing ice skating, never on the level that you did though, like just minor. And so I really loved it. So then I started rollerblading. And so for my birthday this year, I got rollerblades. So I was really excited
Oh,
about that.
awesome.
Yeah, and I haven't skated in years. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
so that's why I was like, it's never too late to start back. But yes, so
Yep.
I'm excited about that. So have you failed at anything today?
Have I failed today?
Have you failed at anything
Uh,
today?
nope. Nope, not today.
Awesome. So you got up, you got your day going, everything went as planned, you got that to-do list going. Okay.
I won't say everything went as planned. That's stretching it a little bit because you always have to be flexible during the day.
Right.
But I got done the majority of what I intended to get done, and it
Okay.
was a good day.
Awesome.
And I spent time taking care of myself and spending time with my husband and my 4 dogs. So that was a good day too.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. I have two that are over there staring at me right now that aren't too happy, but they'll be okay.
Mine are happy
Happy.
because they're eating right now.
Oh, okay. That's probably why mine aren't happy because they eat dinner when we eat dinner. They only eat twice a day.
Right.
But well, that's awesome. That's good. I asked that question because I know as professional women, we get in that mode of everything has to be precise. Everything has to, we have to hit that head on the nail on the head. And so a lot of times we don't accomplish a lot of things because we can't get it just right or we can't get it perfect. And so I like to open up with that question because it helps us to self-examine um our day and who we are and like what we do and like how important it is to us. Because if it's that important, then I've learned if it's that important to me, and it's that important to my mission, and it's going to help somebody else, it doesn't have to be perfect for me.
Right.
Right.
And
So
I am not a perfectionist. I have
gotcha.
always valued get it done fast, accomplish a lot of things.
Mhm.
For a long time, I thought in order to be good, I
Mhm.
had to do a lot of things and do them well.
Gotcha.
And I'm learning that it's more important for me to be happy with who I am, to be rather than to do,
Mhm.
and get okay with me just because of who I am, not because of what I do.
Gotcha. Love it. I love that. So tell us a little bit how you got started on this journey.
Well, let's see. I was a corporate executive in banking as I started my career. And when we were in banking, this is a very long time ago. I'm 65 years old. So we were taught to dress like men. We wore suits with skirts, and that was about the only thing that we didn't look like men because of. So we had a little jacket, a little skirt, little bow tie, and it was all gray or black and very blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left the bank and went to an advertising agency and was very insecure because there people dressed in color and style and different pieces of clothing and scarves and whatever. And I only knew how to dress blah. So I went to a stylist who helped me change the way I looked, and I felt much more in sync with the people there. And that was kind of my first step, because that stylist also showed me how jewelry can really change your entire look. And then I gave my daughters a gift certificate to a jewelry making shop, and they thought it was fun. And I fell in love and started making my own really big, bold jewelry. And I did that for a while. The results I was not happy with. It didn't grow like I thought it would. So I would consider that, I don't know if I consider that a failure or just not as good as I would have hoped. And then my two aging parents started to fail. So I took time away from that to care for them. After they passed, my husband wanted to move to the beach and I wanted to build a custom home. And so we both moved down here to Pawleys Island, South Carolina, and got our wish. And I decided that I would rekindle the jewelry business, but this time I wanted it to be totally different. I wanted it to be 100% online, and I wanted it to be more than just jewelry. I wanted it to be about women's self-expression on the path to feeling beautiful. And there's some statistics out that say that less than 3% of women in the world think they're beautiful, which is really tragic. And yet they think 80% of other women are. So right there, women kind of come out the gate feeling less than other women. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I wanted to do was change that. And the whole time that I was doing this, I was also coaching women to help them into self-confidence and self-esteem and empowerment, because I've been coaching now for about 25 years. But when I started the business back, I worked with a media company who got me guest spots being interviewed on podcasts. And I have this huge passion for helping women. And so I thought, you know what? This would be a great way to help women. I could have a podcast and I could really talk about the things that I think are important to women.
Right.
And a lot of them were like how to improve your self-worth, self-esteem, confidence, because I had started out in my life without any of those.
Right.
I was extremely insecure. Even when I was working, I thought I had to fake it on the outside. Mm-hmm. Because I was so insecure on the inside and I didn't want you to find out.
Right.
Okay. So I essentially started on this journey of being full of self-doubt and no self-esteem. And then through a lot of work that I did with therapy, with a coach, with personal growth, I came out the other side and had confidence and had empowerment. And I decided I wanted to help other women on that journey. You know, I felt like if I had done the work and achieved this, then other women could too. And I wanted to help them get there. And so that's when I created the Her Self-Expression podcast that's dedicated to women on a journey from self-expression to self-empowerment on the inside and out. And we talk about things like confidence and self-worth. And on the other side, we talk about body image and fashion and makeup. So I believe they come together, the inside and the outside, and they form kind of a holistic picture to empowerment. Because I believe if you do things on the outside, you feel better inside. And if you do things inside, you feel better on the outside. And that's my mission, that I want to help women in that regard.
Okay, that's amazing. And it's funny that you say that because I have a modeling studio. And so that's what
Oh,
we
okay.
do. Yeah. So that's what we do in my
Yes.
studio. Yeah. So we do modeling,
Yeah.
acting, body art, makeup classes. And then on our off days, we do confidence building, self-exploring classes. We do etiquette classes. And so that's amazing that you said that because that's absolutely right. And I know sometimes we try not to teach our girls that, but that's the truth. Like, if you dress up your outside, it gets on the inside, right? And so I know a lot of times for kids, you don't have to necessarily start there. For kids, we start on the inside. We start building them up on the inside. You're worthy, you're this, you're that. Because of course, our girls can't just come out the womb wearing makeup, doing their hair, nails, this and that, and the other.
Right.
But as women, as we get older, you're right, we tend to kind of fix up on the outside and then it seeps in like food, like it seeps through your pores, like because it has to get through, because our mind has gone through so many transitions that it's harder now for us to believe, oh, I'm pretty, oh, I'm smart, oh, I can accomplish this,
Right.
oh, I can take on this challenge. Now we have to see it before we can feel it and we believe it. So I love that you said that. That's absolutely correct. The fact that you have this amazing ability to create jewelry is mind blowing. I love that as well. And I think it's important for women to know that, it's not always intellect. And let me explain that. Like, we don't have to have this big corporate job. We don't have to have, we don't have to be making these
Exactly.
9 figures, 6 figures, 8 figures. You can do what you love, be just as passionate and enjoy your life with your own two hands, with your skills, with your passions. Because, now society tells us, if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, or a successful architect, architect or engineer, like, you don't have to have this title to be fulfilled. You can use your passions and your goals and what has been putting you to live the life that you want to live and to be able to be successful and how you want to get there. So I
Well,
love that about you.
yeah, I think society has put this picture of success in our heads. And I don't think that's what success is at all. I think
Right.
each woman, if they're empowered, define what their own success is. I could be a stay-at-home mom and be
Right.
successful.
That's true.
I could be a volunteer at a church. I could be cleaning houses. I could be doing any number of things,
Right.
but it's my personal definition of success that's going to matter, as long as I value myself enough to believe in myself and believe that I deserve that. If I don't value me, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to the pictures that society creates and always say, I'm comparing myself, my insides, to their outsides, and I'm always going to come up short.
Mm-hmm. Always, right? Because we're all created equal. I mean, totally different. Nobody's created equal.
Yeah.
So you can't measure yourself to somebody else.
Yes.
So in your journey, you kind of hit on your passion. Can you go a little bit deeper for us and tell us exactly why you're passionate about helping women, other than, and I know you said that you went through, your own struggles and your own time in your life where you have to develop your own confidence and your own empowerment. But can you give us a little bit more of that nugget?
Sure. Well, I grew up in a house that we had all the material things, but I didn't get taught about how to have self-worth or self-esteem. It was kind of like, you need to do these things to be good. You need to achieve this to be good. And if I didn't achieve that, then I wasn't good. And so I grew up with this feeling out of the gate as to not feeling good. And I think on top of that, my poor mom, she was very insecure in herself. And I think that she thought having a baby would make her feel complete
Mm-hmm.
and would make her feel good. And I think she woke up and here's this crying baby with dirty diapers, and she didn't
Right.
feel better.
Right.
And so I think she was disappointed with me from the get-go. And I
Gotcha.
think that kind of manifests.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was a child, that was her responsibility. But when I became an adult, how I felt about me became my responsibility. But I chose to stay a victim and blame her for all the things that were wrong in my life.
Right.
And then in addition to that, when I started in corporate America, women didn't help other women. Women competed with other women. They clawed their way to the top. They pushed other women out of the way.
Right.
And so I didn't have a support system or help to grow and to develop that sense of self and that I was okay. So now that I've gotten there, I really want to give back to particularly people behind me or younger than me, because I've gotten there and I want them to not have to take as long as I have to this age to get to this place. I'd like to see them get to it in their 20s or 30s,
Mm-hmm.
not their
Mm-hmm.
60s.
Right. Right. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And that's, that's what I'm doing now. Like my modeling studio is mostly youth, when we do our fashion shows, I do incorporate adults and stuff, but yeah, you're right. Like and it's important because that's our society. Like you're our next generation. So we need you to get there quicker than we got there,
Yeah.
so that your struggles aren't the same as our struggles. They're going to have struggles, but it shouldn't be the exact same, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Like I struggle with confidence, my whole life as well. And that's why I'm here doing the same thing you're doing. I'm passionate about helping women and build who they are with what they have. You don't have to go out and add and bring and try to be something you're not. Build it with what you already have inside you. In your coaching, like how do you I wanted you, and you touched on this too. Like it was funny you were talking, and I was like, she's answering all my questions already. So my other question was going to be, how do we get from expression to empowerment?
Well, I think that the more you express yourself,
Mm-hmm.
in other words, the more you become the real you, the authentic you, instead of trying to be somebody different or be somebody that somebody else wants you to be, but you get okay with you and feel that you are worthy. I think that expression fuels you getting your own power.
Gotcha.
So if I feel good about me, if I start, as you said, dressing up, I start to feel like I'm worthy to dress up.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I do those things, the more I take the steps, the better I'm going to feel. But it all starts with working on being willing to look at yourself and being willing to do the work you have to do. For example, if you have some of those things in you, like I did about my self-worth or self-esteem, that's going to take work to get to the bottom of and to change. And there are ways to do that through different coaching methods. But things as simple as learning how to say no instead of saying yes, learning how to set a boundary. And those sound simple, but they're hard.
Very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Yeah. So the more I express myself that way, the more I'm really claiming my own power. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of this self-perpetuating cycle. The more I claim my own power, the more powerful I become. And I don't mean powerful like you're going to hit somebody.
Right.
I mean powerful like strength on the inside.
Right.
And I believe there's a mental component to that, mm-hmm. an emotional component to that, mm-hmm. a physical and spiritual component to it.
Right. So you say you've been doing this for 25 years, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
So what do you think has been the biggest challenge for you in building up other women?
Women tend to be their own worst enemy
Definitely.
and don't want to do the work you have to do to change.
Hmm.
They want to change, but they don't want to do the work.
That's powerful. Can you break that down a little bit more for me? Like, what do you mean they don't want to do the work?
Well, let's say in my example, I didn't have any self esteem or self worth. It means getting to the root of why that is, which is painful.
It
And
is.
that's what the hard work is. It's getting in touch with the pain so that you become willing to be different. You know, I always say pain is the cornerstone of progress. I've never really changed me when everything felt great. I'm only motivated to change when I'm hurting. And so that's how I get there is you get in touch with that ickiness inside and you work to clean out the ickiness and replace it with strength and positivity and positive self-image.
You're right. I love that. It is easy for us to kind of ignore the truth. And we do that in everything, not just in ourselves. We do that in life. You know, we see signs of things and we just keep going. You know, it's like
Yeah.
driving a car. It's like you see the road, the construction signs, and it's like roadblock, and it's like move over to the left lane, and we just keep driving. It's like, okay, I saw it, but I'm gonna keep driving. And that's the same way we are as women. Like we see the signs of low self-esteem, we see the signs of where it originated from, and we choose to ignore the fact that I have to deal with this before I can move on. You know, we like to put band-aids on things and just think it's gonna evaporate, and that's not true. A lot of women that I have helped in the past as well, you know, is, and you're right, that's been the biggest struggle. It's like, you know, what is the real problem? Like, why don't you want to address it? Or, you know, they want to address it. We keep bringing it up and we keep blaming it. And it's like, at some point, we have to realize, okay, it's done and over. We have to figure out a way to let it go. You know, because you can only blame a situation or a person for so long. You, like you said, you have to take the responsibility to figuring out the work and then do the work. Like that's what I was doing. I was writing it down. You said, be willing to do the work to get to the real you. And you have to be willing to let whatever that hurt is, whatever held you back, whatever causes lack of confidence and kept building on top of it, you have to be willing to let it go. And that's been one of my biggest things. Like women just don't want to, we acknowledge it, they acknowledge it, but it's like, oh no, this is the reason why. And I have to continue to blame this reason. And that's not true, you know? So what is your advice to help women after they acknowledge it, they're doing the work? What is your advice to help them sustain this process?
Well, I think to realize that it is an ongoing process. I don't know that anybody's ever 100% empowered. I
Right.
look at it, it's a journey.
It is.
And so, as long as I'm moving forward on that journey, I'm not falling back. And
Right.
so, I just have to keep doing what I'd call the maintenance
Mm-hmm.
to keep me growing. And that means as things come up, I need to take a look at them. I need to work through them. That means if old memories come up or
Mm-hmm.
old pains come up, I need to either see a therapist or a coach. And when you were talking, I was thinking about another reason sometimes women don't do the work. Sometimes I think women give everything to everybody else and not themselves.
That's
So
true.
they will go out and spend a fortune on kids' expensive tennis shoes, but they won't pay for therapy for themselves. They will go out
That will
and
preach. Do you hear me?
yeah,
I said that
they
will
will
preach. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
they will pay lots of money for their husband and them to go out to dinner or
Mhm.
buy things for the family, but
Right.
they won't buy themselves a new dress or
Hmm.
that kind of thing and take care of themselves
Hmm.
and value themselves.
Hmm.
And I think if anything, they would buy a new dress before they would spend money on therapy.
Right. Oh, you're absolutely right. I totally 100% agree. When you said that, that was just like, that would definitely preach. That's a whole sermon by itself. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. That's so true. Like, you're right. I personally don't buy Jordans because my kids' feet grow like weeds, but you're absolutely right. You're
Yeah.
right. I mean, you're right. I think because we've seen our parents do that and then we pass it down to our kids, like is number one for women to put yourself last, because we got so many other things to take care of and we forget about us. And another thing is,
But it's also, I think about this. It's a male dominated society. Men have been around for an awfully long time setting the rules for women.
That's
and
true.
so men kind of put us in our role and told us that our job was to serve the family. And so we always were supposed to put our family before ourselves.
Right.
And some of us do that to a fault of becoming exhausted and sick and all kinds of things. So it's also partly the society. I think we're still in a patriarchal society.
Yeah, I agree. I agree to some extent. I agree. But I mean, we can only allow people to do so much, though. But you're absolutely right. I think we were definitely told this is how it's supposed to be from day one, and it's just been passed down from generation to generation. Now, today, I do believe that women speak up more, they do more, they have more power over what they do and what they say and how they act and how they run their household. But you're right. I don't think that that's went away at all. I think that that grandmother spirit is still in just about every mother that's out there, every mother and wife. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Well, think about this. For every dollar that a man earns at his job, a woman earns 80 cents.
Oh, that's true.
So it's a setup. It's a setup.
Oh, it definitely is. It definitely is. It definitely is. Yeah. I was just referring back to the household, but you're right. Because it's funny, my son has a little head cold. We've been tested, it's not COVID, but he has a head cold and so he also has permanent hearing loss in both of his ears. And part of that is because it's kind of my self-efficient son. So like if he tells me, hey mom, my ear's hurting, I'm like, okay, well, I have 4 kids. And so we're ripping and running, we're doing this and that. If he never comes back to me and says, my ears are still hurting, I've totally forgotten it, right? So he lost some of his hearing because he had so many ear infections growing up and he just never said anything. So now, so the other day, day before yesterday, he said, I couldn't hear you. And I said, you can't hear me because of your hearing loss, or you can't hear me because I was really close to him. I said, or because it's loud in here. He said, no. He said, my ears popped and they went out. And he said, so I haven't been able to hear it clearly. And I said, well, Daryl, why didn't you tell me? He said, I told daddy. I said, stop telling your daddy stuff. I was like, if it has nothing to do with like money, getting you somewhere, bills, whatever, I was like, don't tell your daddy. Because he's, for men, it's just not there. That's mom's job. Mama handled it. So what was I doing today? At work, trying to make a doctor's appointment, getting my son seen, so you're right. I was going through all that to say, you're right. It's still our place to do A through Z for the household and work and do everything else. So you're absolutely right. We have to find the time to say, listen, I need this for myself because I have to be here to take care of you too. So You're absolutely right. I've enjoyed this time with you. This has been amazing. It's great to talk with somebody who's like-minded, who has the same passion, the same goals as me as well. Can you tell my community where they can find you?
Sure. You can find me at herselfexpression.com. And you can listen to my podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. And it's also called Her Self-Expression. So if you just remember Her Self-Expression, you can find me most any place.
Okay, gotcha. And so I will also link all of your social media links on the podcast as well, so everybody know where to find you. Now, do you have any free gifts for my community if they want to reach out to you for anything?
I don't have a gift, but on my website, I have a quiz that they can take and find out where they are on their own empowerment journey. And then they get a report back that actually tells them where they are and what their opportunities for growth are.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Beverly, so much. This has been amazing. I really enjoyed our conversation today. I thank you so much for taking the time out to share your passion and your views and your goals with my community. I know they've grown because I've grown, and I can't wait to show this and air this so so that other women can have another outlet. It's not all about me. I don't want people just say, oh, I can only go and talk to Ebony or listen to Ebony. No, you guys go out and listen to her podcast. It's amazing. That's the one reason why I connected with her. I really enjoyed her podcast. It has a lot of information, a lot of things. And I also invite you guys not to just take in information, but to take it in and actually apply it to your lives as well.
Yes.
So you guys know where to find us. Anywhere you listen to music, we are there. Make sure you look at the links below so that you guys can communicate with Beverly as well. I love you guys, and I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you, Beverly.
Bye-bye.